Uta here of Trans Widow Uta Hagen YouTube channel with a few leaves from my woods from the big oak tree and a different oak tree, I think, and then some maples that got colorful. Most of my maples are Norway maples and they only get yellow, but that kind of looks red, almost like a sugar maple. So, this is the first time, first one in a series that a young man has agreed to allow me to broadcast about him. I'm going to call him Paul. I had a cousin named Paul who got a very bad flu-like illness and died when he was 14. I was about 7, I think, at the time. And that was just this, it was a really hard thing for all of us. And I mean, that meant that instead of there being 18 cousins in that generation on my mother's side, then we were 17. Anyway, I just decided I want to, say the name Paul. But this young man is completely alive and well. And this is the third young person to contact me, possibly because they were doing their own research and they found my videos here about child development, really pushing back on this whole idea that a child can know that they are in the wrong body since birth or something like that. And so Paul and I have emailed back and forth 4 times now, and we're on a weekly schedule, and I'm just an old lady who can give advice. I'm not telling him that anything I say is therapy for him or anything like that. And I think it's interesting, though, because he was worried that he might be trans. And he said, I think I have a female face, and I think one of my hands sort of seems female. And the thing is, if he goes into a gender clinic and says that kind of stuff, they're going to put him on a path. And I'm specifically not asking him where he is or how old he is. I have a sense that he's maybe 14, 15, maybe 16. He told me he goes to an all-boys school, and he feels like he would fit in more with girls. And in my last missive to him, I mentioned how teenage girls can be really cruel. And so I kind of, let him think about the fact that teenagers can be pretty tough to be around, even for other teenagers. And I printed out my first response to him. It was really cute. He contacted me. He must have seen a Trans Widow Uta Hagen YouTube video, and then he went to my Uta Hagen Grass Widow .wordpress.com, which is always in the description notes at the end. And he went through the contact form to contact me. And like I said, he's the third young person to say, well, I might be this, or I used to think I was this, but now I know I'm not. And they seem to be asking me for, a vote of confidence that you probably are not, and I don't believe in it. So you're talking to someone who has good training in child development and about 25 years teaching young children, and raised my own 2 boys, and I remember their teenage years very well. Yep, we got to that point where, okay, you talk to me like that, and you won't get any driving licenses when you turn 16, and no driving lessons when you're 15, and every answer regarding asking for money for something, the answer is going to be no. So why don't you go to your room and do some homework, and then, you'll straighten out how you talk to me, and then we can talk. And typically it was really my older son who was kind of giving me trouble. But I think I had to do that with the younger one too at that age. I think 15, 14, 15, really tough. Their bodies are raging with hormones. So anyway, so I really think I'm giving valuable advice, and I'm going to put that out there because I'm not doing conversion therapy. I'm not doing therapy. I'm responding to questions that I believe it's a teenage boy, I'm pretty sure, um, who, like, he said to me, uh, sorry I didn't get back to you very fast, or something like that, after I responded to his first email. And that was on the same day. He said I had to do some homework. And I just thought, oh, that's so endearing. I'm glad that he's doing his homework. Anyway, so Paul, that's not his real name. I felt that, I'm going to go through the list of things in terms of a wellness checklist for any teenager, but especially a teenager who's starting to be influenced by the trans cult and these ideas. Maybe there are some other kids or adults in his world who are promoting these ideas, and he let me know that he's somewhere a little bit, but mildly on the autism or Asperger type spectrum. So that tells me that, socializing doesn't necessarily come so easy to him, and uh, kids with this ideation are found. It's some high number. I think they actually have some data now on kids going in the UK to these gender clinics. It's something like 60% have autistic like behaviors or tendencies. So, of course, that makes this whole trans idea irrelevant. Okay. So this is how I responded to him with my first, thoughtful response. I took some time to write my ideas. I suggest you take a few days and reflect. We have an agreement that he's only going to email me once a week, and we have a certain day. And so even if he emails me um, before that or something, I am not going to read it, because uh, I can't do that to myself, basically, because of what I've been through. I don't want to worry about this kid who's writing to me pretty deep, profound things. And, you know, but the thing is, he has to figure it out. And so I'm just trying to help him get some structure for his life so that he can figure it out. So, okay, I don't consider this a late reply. And you did not sound like a troll. I said to him that he has to write some few details about his life to me, because I have to, make sure in my mind that he's not a troll, because I do have trolls. I just said I have to protect myself. There are trolls who want to somehow get me saying things that put me in a bad light so they can post it online and defame me. This is me talking. This is all me talking. This is just me responding to him. I'm just going to describe generally things that he told me. I'm not going to read what he wrote to me. I'm glad to know you're sincere, like so many young men in our time. Perhaps lonely and worried. This is natural. We're living through a stressful time in this world. And I said, I very much like a YouTube channel called Motivational Doc. Motivational and then DOC. The osteopath chiropractor has many tips on physical stress reduction techniques and breathing and various pressure points kind of stuff in your hands and things like that. And I really think that uh, teenagers need this. I mean, if I had, I did a lot of this even with kindergarteners, but if I had the deeper stuff that I've been learning from motivational doc, I can't think of his name at the moment. Uh, I would I would have used those with the kids too, because I really worked to help them to stay calm for the lessons and the work and the play we were doing in kindergarten. So I recommended Motivational Doc for the stress reduction tips that this guy, osteopath, I guess he uh, is very sincerely suggesting. And then I said, for yourself, a checklist. Am I eating healthy? If not, reduce sugar, salt, and processed food. If you eat meat, do not feel you shouldn't. Human evolves eating meat, and our brains need protein. Start helping with the cooking to get others in your family doing the same. Even cutting up the vegetables is helpful. Am I a healthy weight? Um, is another important question. Now is the time to slim down if you're overweight. Also, be sure to brush your teeth and floss 2 times a day. I really want to give a comprehensive life health plan to Paul. Um, Brushing upon return from school is always a good idea. You could probably have less fillings, less cavities. Another question to ask yourself. Am I on a regular sleep schedule? If not, put yourself on an internet diet with a timer if necessary, and read an actual physical book with a reading light before going to sleep in time to get 8 hours. Tell yourself that your bedtime is based on what time you have to wake up. You need 8 hours. Do not skimp. And then also to ask himself, am I still growing physically? Even if you're 18, you may be growing physically. This means the above about food and sleep is important. My uncle Lars came back from his service in World War II a couple of inches taller because he actually grew at age 20. Women usually stop growing in the mid-teens, and this is a sex difference. So girls typically are physically mature and reach their full height often by, 14, 15, maybe 16. I know I was 14 because I had something wrong with my knee. They did an x-ray and they told me your growth lines are closed. I wasn't really thrilled about that. I'm 5'4". I thought, I could have had another inch or something, but boys often do grow even until age 20. Do I hang out with friends who are good for me? Friends who constantly talk about gender identity have an obsession, and finding a different crowd is advised. Just be busy with something else. This is not easy. It will take time. Spending time alone is not always lonely. It can be very useful and build emotional strength. If you have been going to the gender club at school, start doing something else. It's indoctrination, and their theories are already disproven by theories in Scandinavia, the United Kingdom, and Germany. Another question for him to ask himself, do I know how to keep myself company while not on social media? I suggest find ways to take walks alone, do photography, work out, garden, help with household chores, and etc. while on your own. Do not let rumination cycles, that's downward spirals of negative thinking, dominate your thoughts. Listen to classical music, I suggest, and memorize some melody that you like. Put that in your head when you find that you're ruminating about, is my face sort of female looking, or I have sort of delicate hands, maybe I'm not so cowboy masculine or something. So this is something I do for myself. I enjoy, of course, Chopin, Tchaikovsky, Beethoven. I love the Beethoven late string quartets, and I'll listen over and over while I'm doing my workout on the floor. Check out my wellness movements playlist. And when I'm out in the garden and I find myself, missing my children or ruminating about some of the, you know, kind of ridiculous things that I went through because of Nettie, uh, I do find that it can help to put a piece of music in your mind. I also sometimes go around singing. For example, my mother loved the hymn Amazing Grace. And so sometimes I'm out in the woods raking or doing things and I'm singing Amazing Grace to myself. And it's a great way, singing is a great way to put uh, thought patterns out of your mind. Um, and you'll be surprised because then you see something outside, you see something in nature, and then you say, "Oh, wow, that's something I need to write down in my nature journal." Uh, I'm saying that young people are losing this skill. And because I really actually don't recommend listening to podcasts and listening to music through your phone with the earbuds and stuff. I think it's really important to be outside and be able to hear the birds, hear the squirrels, crunching in the leaves and all of those natural sounds. I go on to suggest write down some happy memories from early life. Tell your parents you were thinking about that. They may have details to add. This will enrich your sense of self. What I'm trying to do is give this young man um, ideas to more securely ground him and more securely connect the mind and body. The mind body connection needs strengthening if you have this ideation that maybe you're more like the opposite sex. Uh, okay, yeah. Develop healthy, secure, confident sense of self. I like this primal fitness system for men. It's called the Tap Brothers. And I haven't, paid money and subscribed to it, but it looks like it's a good, naturalistic, very authentic, doable exercise system, which will be good, especially for men. I think that my wellness movements, because I designed them on my body, which is my body is maybe more flexible than your typical, 67, 68-year-old, because I'm a former dancer and men are not as flexible. And so I've thought about this quite a bit. And I actually do recommend to both sexes, do some push-ups. I try to do some push-ups every day. Abdominal exercises are very important, especially because your solar plexus is up here right above the abdominal wall. And then you've got the whole big abdominal wall going down to your pubic bone. And it's the largest swath of uninterrupted muscles without a joint in the body. And there's the vagus nerve deep inside of your torso going from your brain down to your gut. And anxiety is very much related to the stimulation of the vagus nerve. And all these kind of exercises are helpful, and especially the abdominals exercises, because you end up with a sense of strength and wholeness that takes your focus off of this feeling of stress that could be happening in your nervous system through the vagus nerve. Okay. Uh, okay. Does your dad work out or exercise, and can you join him? Is it the children's job? It is. I say this because I think that kids don't realize this. I knew this because my father had some health issues, but um, it's the children's job to encourage parents to be active as they age. This will give a richness to your life. I'm sure your dad regrets not being there. He had said that early in his life, his dad was kind of not there. And there was also something about his mother having had a miscarriage when he was a little kid, and apparently that was a female fetus that she lost. So, that's a lot there. That's a lot. If teachers at school are suggesting you and other students to pretend what it might be like to have been born the opposite sex, don't take it seriously. I'm not saying not to do an assignment, but this is ridiculous. Teachers should not be doing this. This is messing with a child's head, and I've heard of teachers doing this as soon as the kids are writing in second grade and stuff. It is educational malpractice. I said they are committing educational malpractice and depriving you of actual academic training when they do this, meaning when they do the gender unicorn or the genderbread man or start talking about non-binary and all these feelings. Okay. There's a devaluation of men, I said to him. Men do risky jobs often. Some women do too, but it is usually men who are doing the risky jobs. And if you feel that you are not a masculine dude, that's not important. You should work physically to be strong and coordinated and find your sport activity. We must be active. Our minds and souls need it. It may be that you don't relate much with the sports team jocks, but there are so many other guys around. Do you play a musical instrument? So, I mean, basically what it boils down to is don't spend so much time online. He didn't answer to me. I had specifically said, can you do a little assessment of how much time you spend gaming? Because I'm noticing that teenage boys are particularly getting drawn into this gaming, and what they do is pick avatars that are female. And the thing is, they're attracted, if they're heterosexual, they're attracted to females, and they get, kind of headed down, making a wrong turn into a blind alley if they start thinking, oh, well, I'm Judy today, so, maybe I'm actually, maybe I'm an egg and I'm going to crack and this trans personality will come out. So this is my first really more extensive work with the third kid. I'm not doing therapy. I am simply an old lady with a lot of life experience giving advice, much like a grandmother. More on this. I will print out my replies to him and read more, because this whole checklist of sleep, time on the internet, eating, helping out mom and dad, it's kind of, recalibrate that relationship with mom and dad, or moms and dads, whatever kind of family configuration there is. That is important to maintain. A lot of times in the teenage and young adult periods, parents and children become almost, estranged. And I went through some stuff with my parents because they didn't want me living with Nettie. And so it's just important to establish a structure of, talking sort of philosophically about your life and what you've been through. And now he did tell me he went for a walk with his mom. He said something about wanting to do some religious reading. He said he's been working out down in the basement. And I was like, yes, it's all good. So I think, I mentioned too, if you've got a mirror that you're looking at in your room a lot, tell your parents, I don't think I want this mirror in my room. If I was a parent of a kid with some of these kind of self-doubts, I would basically take all the mirrors out, put them in a big box in the garage, and hang something over the mirror in the bathroom, and only open it, like make a curtain over it, only open it for brushing your teeth, shaving, putting on makeup or whatever. The other thing, I mean, if I was the mother of a kid like this, I would stop wearing makeup. I would stop having makeup around at all, because when you're not home, he might go into that and then go online and take pictures of himself and put it out there and stuff. And this is what these kids are doing. So that would be my recommendation, or keep it at work, or something. Keep it under lock and key, because it's a distraction, and this child needs to realign and reconnect mind and body. Let me know what you think.